Hi everyone, let's go over our syllabus. What exactly are we going to cover in this class? I have actually divided my class into 5 different sections. Section 1, which is the lab setup. In this section, we will cover what is a virtual machine, how does it work, downloading and installing a virtual box, creating first virtual machine, and doing the Linux installation. Now, please remember this section is for those who actually have never installed or who do want to install a lab Linux machine in their laptop or their workstation. If you already have a Linux machine and you want to start practicing your Linux scripting skills from this course, then you could simply skip through this entire section and go right into section 2. In section 2, we'll start off with shell scripting basics and what those basics are, starting with kernel, how kernel interacts with shell. What is a shell? Shell scripting, how does shell scripting come along? How can we take advantage of it? What are the different type of shells? Of course, there are tons of different shells: Z shell, K shell, C shell, Bash shell. What is our focus in this class? And of course, our focus is Bash scripting, but I will cover other shells as well. Starting a shell, how to run a shell script. Then moving on to section 3. We have in section 3, we will cover the scripting standards. What exactly the standards that you should follow when you are writing a shell script. And those are how to name your shell script. So this way you will have a proper naming convention for your shells. Script file permissions. So when you create a script, you would need a specific executable permissions and what those permissions are and how can we assign them. Then shell scripting format, what goes inside of a script, what are the comments, where do you define the shell, what are the variables, the sequence of shell script. Then moving on to the section 4, which is where we're going to start off with actual writing scripts, the basic shell scripts. And I'm not going to overload you on this section with like huge scripts. So I'm going to take baby steps with you as if you are starting fresh with me in Linux shell scripting. Then I'll show you how to create your first script. Script to run basic tasks, and those tasks are system administrative tasks. Defining variables, input, output scripts, conditional scripts, if-else statement scripts. We'll cover the case statement scripts. We'll cover for loop scripts. We'll write it. I'll give you the examples. We'll create do-while scripts. How do they work? What are the exit status? How can we use the exit status in shell scripting and make use of it? And then we have a bunch of handouts that you could read on shell scripting that would help you write more script and understand scripting details, scripting basics as well. Moving on to the section 5, which is our biggest section, and you should be ready for this section. By the time you come to this, you would know exactly how to start, how to get your hands dirty, and you are already on a driving seat at this point. This is where we will cover the real life scripting examples, and some of them are accessing data from files, check remote server connectivity, script for scheduling and notification, script to delete old files, backup file systems when you want to back up your system when you don't have a third-party backup tool, how you could use a scripting language to do that, for loop scripts for file system. That is for one of the section, and I have not included just one for loop. This specific lesson would have like 4 or 5 for loop scripts that I have covered in this one section, in this one lesson. Then for loop script for file system 2. Now this is another lesson. Now I have split that entire lesson into 2 lessons. Why? Because I'm covering like 5 to 8 different scripts. Moving on, copy files to a remote host. User directory assignment. You will see how we could check if a directory exists and it doesn't belong to the user. This is a security risk. How we could put a script around it. Real life examples. Again, moving on to section 5. Section 5 is not finished yet. List of users logged in by date. Central logging script. If you do not have Splunk, which is a logging third-party tool in your environment, it's okay. We'll create our own Splunk, our own logging syslog script that will run like a Splunk. Collect your logs. Script for user account management. Disable inactive users. That's a script we'll cover. Check process status and killing it. Status and total number of files. Scripts to create system inventory. Getting online help. Homework. And there's going to be so much many other scripts that I cannot just add everything here in this syllabus, that I will be keep adding it later on. So this is what we actually going to cover in this entire course. So are you ready with me? Are you ready to go ahead and start? Let's go.